This is what we're going to be making today. I'm going to be using a Zentangle tile, a pencil, a pen, and a tortillon. The tortillon helps with the shading. So put a little dot of pencil in each of your corners, and then we're going to connect those. Now I want to do kind of an eye shape that comes out of one of the corners, but I don't want it to go just straight over to that side. I'm going to give it a little bit of interest by stopping a little bit short. So I'm going to do a curve and then another curve. Now I'm going to go to my pen. This first piece, the tangle that we're going to be doing is this one here, and the name of that is perk. We're going to be doing a couple of parallel lines that do kind of the ribs. I'm going to call those ribs. They can either be like a rainbow bridge, or you can give them a little bit of flair. And I'm just going to go from the outside and then go to the other side like that. So I'm come down a little bit from the edge, and I've done one of these ribs. I'm going to give some space and do another set. So now all the ribs are in there, and then we're going to start filling in the spaces in between the ribs by drawing an orb that's kind of right in the middle. I'm going to start with this guy here in the middle. I'm going to start at the top rib, curve down, touch at the bottom rib, and then curve back up. So the next thing we're going to do is do the orbs that go on either side. See how they come off either side to their ribs? I'm going to start here with this one of these ones in the middle. I'm going to go up and down. So it's kind of tucked in right next to it. So it tucks into the first orb and hits the top rib and the bottom rib. The next thing I'm going to do is at the end of the ribs, I'm going to give them a little roundedness. And then there's all of these little spaces between the orbs and the ribs. I'm going to ink all those little spaces in. So the next one that we're going to work on is over here. And this is called betweed. We're actually going to do a couple of betweeds in this section. I'm going to start betweed by doing a line that goes from the corner up to perk. And it's just going to stop there. Stop at perk like that. Then I'm going to kind of cross it. It's a little bit of an arc. And across it again, kind of arc it out. And then I'm going to come out from the perk somewhere and cross it again. So I have all of these triangles out here. So I'm going to pick one of these triangles, this one right here, and I'm going to start my betweed there in that triangle. I'm going to begin with my pen a little bit away from the center, and I'm going to arc out toward the tip of that line. It's going to go like this. Just like that. And that where that first arc started, I'm going to add a little extra ink right there. So my line goes from heavy to light. Now I'm going to do this same kind of arc again, but this time I'm going to go from the arced line out to the other tip of the triangle. I'm going to start here and just swing it out to that other tip. Give it a little bit of weight where it started out there inside. And then I'm going to go back again and arc it out to the tip like that. So I've got this kind of a weave look. It's going back and forth there in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing in each triangle. So as I turn my tile, I'm going to go to the one to the right. And again, I'm going to start this from here and go this way. Now we've got the hang of between, we're going to put another one on. And it's going to go kind of over in this section over here. So I always start between by making kind of a star in the area. Now we've got between done, but there's some kind of funky spaces in between places. And I want to fill those with orbs. Like right in here, there's this funky space in between these two betweeds. And I'm going to just kind of fill that in like it's a perk. And then I'm going to bring some of these orbs to the outside. Got one more tangle to share with you, and then we'll get on to the shading. So this is the one we're going to do next. And that one's called MST, M-S-S-T, MST. And I picked this one because it's very light, and it's going to be a nice contrast for these shapes. So MST starts with just, I'm going to come toward from this other, in this empty quarter over here, and I'm going to come toward the center with a wiggly line that's kind of light and thin. And then it's going to be a little space between them. They're not going to be the same line. They're going to wiggle. They're going to stop at different heights. And the next part is to put a couple of little ink dots, 2 or 3, at the end of each of these lines. And then if you would like to, there's a little design called fescue that you can add in a couple of places around here. And fescue is done with a little curve with a little extra bubbly weight on the end like that. And sometimes with fescue, just kind of aura the head with some dots. All right, we are ready for some shading. So I'm going to start with adding a little bit of shading to the betweed by the center line that goes in from the point. Just put a little graphite on that out there. I'm also going to put a little graphite along the outside of the perk. Now in the sample earlier today, I had shaded each of the orbs. I'm going to show you another way to do it, which is just to put a little shading outside the rails. Let me just show you the difference between those two different kinds of shading. The other place I'm going to do a little bit of shading is right inside the pencil line on the edge of the mist. And the final thing is to put your initials on there.